Hello, my beautiful merfolk. Welcome to our first ever Mercedes Reviews TV show slash movie edition. Today, we've got a very special review. Well, not only is it my first, but this is like a brand new show. This is a Hulu original. Today, we're going to be reviewing The Patient. I am so freaking excited. Literally just watched the first 2 episodes. I cannot wait to talk about it. So before we get into it, I kind of want to let you know how we're going to be doing this review. So obviously, at the time of recording this anyway, only the first 2 episodes have come out. So I am going to kind of give my initial thoughts, who I think might be interested in this show, what I'm looking forward to for the rest of this season, and keep that all general for the first part of this video. The second part of this video, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the first 2 episodes, what happens within those first 2 episodes. So if you don't want to see that part, don't worry, I will let you know before I talk any spoilers or ruin anything that happens for you. It'll be kind of more like a recap and review. But we're going to start off with a review, again, keeping it super surface level so that if you haven't watched the first 2 episodes yet, you can get right off up here and go watch those episodes because they were pretty dang good. So let's get into our first review together. So The Patient is a new Hulu original series directed by Chris Long and written by Joe Weisberg and Joe Fields, who all work together on The Americans. It's starring Steve Carell from The Office, Despicable Me, Space Force, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Anchorman, and just honestly way too many to name. Steve Carell is a legend. This is also starring Domhnall Gleeson from a bunch of things I've never watched before, such as Peter Rabbit, Star Wars, The Revenant, Mother, which I did see. I just tried very hard to scrub that entire movie from my brain. I never want to think about it again. I'd be happy if it just never existed. And lots more. So first, I'm going to read you the show description right off of the Hulu page. So no spoilers here. This is directly from Hulu. This is exactly what you see when you go to check out the show. The Patient is a psychological thriller from the minds of Joe Fields and Joe Weisberg from The Americans, about a therapist, Alan Strauss, Steve Carell, who's held prisoner by a patient, Sam Fortner, Domhnall Gleeson, who reveals himself to be a serial killer. Sam has an unusual therapeutic demand for Alan: curb his homicidal urges. So literally read that description. This came on my Hulu page this morning, read that description, added it to my list right away, watched it this afternoon while eating lunch. Like that, if that does not captivate you right away, then obviously this is just not your genre. But it is mine. So initial thoughts going into this was Steve Carell in a psychological thriller. Yes, please. Of course, he normally does more comedy work. I'm so excited to see him take on this more serious role and hopefully even maybe bring a little bit of that Steve Carell comedy that we love into the role, even if it is, very serious, a role about a serial killer. But so excited to see him take on this role. And just from the 2 episodes that I watched, he's already doing an amazing job. Like, he is such an amazing actor. Then, second thought going into this, of course, I love a dramatic intro that gives us like a little taste of what's to come. Especially like as a writer, you're always thinking of that way to start a book or start a show that's going to immediately captivate your audience and then keep them coming back for more. And this show delivers. So first episode, we start off with Steve I mean Alan, waking up, he's groggy, he's groaning, like you do after being knocked out. He gets out of bed and he starts walking when he realizes he's chained to the bed. That's a fantastic way to start off an episode, if you ask me. So that's our intro scene. We quickly rewind, get a little bit more backstory. So episode 1 is called Intake, and we start off, you know, besides realizing that he's chained to the bed, we start off, he's got a new patient who wears sunglasses and is quite obviously the killer. Like, nobody just wears sunglasses inside. We start off with his new patient, and we kind of get like a little bit of like a reel of just him with his patients interacting, going through his normal life. We keep getting a little bit more of these sessions with him and sunglasses guy who goes by Gene. Another sessions start off slow and without much substance. That quickly changes after Gene abducts Alan and admits he's a killer and that he needs Alan to fix him. So immediately I love coming at this from an angle of a killer wanting help, where you get kind of a sense that even he might be troubled by what he's capable of and his actions, or maybe even there's a reason that he's like motivated at this specific time to get help and to fix him. Throughout the first 2 episodes, we get many glimpses into Dr. Allen's past, or Dr. Strauss. I'm going to call him Dr. Allen, through his past as well, hinting that the doctor might have some demons of his own. So the episodes are short and bingeable, which I love. It was like chef's kiss, especially considering the show that I started prior to this one, which I will be doing a review for as well. I think I'll publish it after this. But so they're short and bingeable with a unique and intriguing premise. I am going to now rate the show. We have 2 episodes to go on, but at this time, with 2 episodes out, I'm going to give this 5 platinum scales. Because I absolutely love it. I find it very compelling. I think there's so much more to go on and build off of. I'm just very excited. I can't wait to see what they have coming for us. So after this entire season is done airing is when I will publish my second review video, and I will update my review at the time. If my rating has gone down or changed at all, I will let you know. So far, very excited, highly recommend. Now, who do I think that this show might interest? I think if you are a fan of any of the things I'm about to list, this might be interesting to you, especially if you're a fan of thrillers, like in general, like obviously, killers, murder, that kind of stuff. But I did pull, not even really pull, I just like pulled from my mind, I guess, some specific titles that if you love or like super enjoyed any of these, this might be the next show for you that you are going to fall in love with. So if you like Misery, Hannibal, I'm talking about Hannibal the TV show, but also Silence of the Lambs, which is referenced in the show BT Dubs, Prodigal Son, Mindhunter, or The Voices, I think this is definitely a show for you. Again, absolutely loved it. I'm going to pause here, let you know I'm about to get deeper into my review and into the recap. So if you don't want any spoilers of any kind, I will advise you to stop here, go to Hulu, at the very least put the show on your watch list, and if you have the time, go ahead and watch the first episode. Like I said, they're short and sweet, and after you watch that first one, you're gonna need to watch the second one, and then you're gonna curse because you don't have more to watch. That's a promise. So go watch it, check it out, let me know what you think. If you've already watched the first 2 episodes, let me know what you think in the comments. So excited to hear what y'all think. Now, let's get further into this. All right, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna read off the episode description for episode 1. We'll get into my recap for episode 1, do the same thing for episode 2, and just like go from there. So, episode 1 is called Intake. Dr. Alan Strauss, a therapist mourning the death of his wife, takes on an enigmatic new client. As they wrestle with very different problems, their professional relationship is transformed by a choice that binds them deeply together. So, as I said, we start off with Alan waking up, groggy, groaning, like you do after being knocked out. He gets out of bed and starts walking when he realizes he's chained to the bed and reacts really the only way that you can in a situation like this. Then, of course, he proceeds to scream for help. He gets this like real good high pitched scream for help that literally gave me life. I was like, that is Steve Carell right there. That's a scream and a sound only Steve Carell can make. I loved it. So then we roll back the tape a little bit. We go back a while before, obviously, the kidnapping. We move on to him going to work in his office. He gets this new patient who's wearing a hat and sunglasses. And this new patient talks about how he read Dr. Alan Strauss's book and thought that, this could be the psychologist who could really help him. He says his dad beat him like all the time when he was younger, and it really effed him up. When Alan like challenges this and asks like how, he's just like in every way. When he challenges like how often were the beatings, he says basically all the time. So I am curious if we're gonna get like flashbacks later in the season of like just Sam growing up, and yeah, what shaped him into being a killer. But it is very obvious that he's a killer. And like even Dr. Alan Strauss asked like, why always wearing the sunglasses? He lies and says that he has like an eye condition, like he can't really light sensitivity. It's all very obviously a lie. But I don't think at this point a good doctor is just assuming he's a serial killer, which I mean, I would, but I'm not a psychologist and I don't see all the people that he sees every day. So, maybe it's not that abnormal. However, if I were to encounter him like that all the time, just saying. So after getting like a reel of him with multiple different patients, mostly focusing on his different interactions with our sunglasses patient, aka Jean. I really just start again with Steve in bed. I mean Alan in bed. He's having a dream, like he wakes up next to his wife, who it's hinted at within the show that she has passed away. However, in the description, they obviously clearly state that she has passed away. But so he wakes up in bed next to his wife. He goes into the other room, and there's like this Voldemort-like baby in the crib. Super creepy. Not gonna lie, it makes me really wonder what the heck is going on in his mind. Then he's bringing a guitar case into the shop. We find out, obviously, through like interaction that the person working the shop, or at least behind the desk, is his son Ezra, and you may recognize him from Zoe's Infinite Playlist and or Bones. After watching him in Bones, I literally can only see him as the serial killer from Bones. Every time I look at him now, it's like terrifying, and I'm expecting him to just be like some evil mastermind set out to kill everybody. But alas, he is not the killer in the story. So he we see Dr. Alan Strauss back in his home. He's getting ready for bed. He's making himself a nice cup of sleepy time tea, and he hears a strange noise outside, which anyone into true crime, horror films, anything like that is like, obviously, don't go outside. You don't go outside. You hear a strange noise, you don't go outside. You lock all your doors, you turn all the lights off, you grab a knife and your phone, and you hide. You just don't go outside. That's not dramatic at all, but honestly. Um, so, of course, because this is a TV show, he goes outside to investigate. There's like, it looks like he has a grill, and the grill is covered, and like the cover is kind of flapping. So, like, maybe it's the wind. A can rolls away from the grill. I don't know if it's an aerosol can or what the heck it is. But he picks up the can, turns around, knocked out. And that leads us back to where we left off. So it is the next morning from where we left off. So he'd woken up that night, screamed for help, went back to sleep. Next morning, Jean comes down the stairs, kind of just like breezing by Alan. He's like, yeah, I know this is very upsetting. Give me a second. And like runs back upstairs. I thought that was hilarious, honestly. Just the like, the easy breeziness of it all was too much for me. Um, so they begin to talk. Alan keeps trying to convince Jean to let him go. Jean's saying, I can't let you go. Like, my problems run way deeper. And we get this back and forth for a little bit until finally Jean confesses that one, his real name is Sam, and two, he is a serial killer. He's killed for basically as long as he can remember, is what it seems like, and he knows that he will kill again. He needs Alan to help him not kill anymore. So Alan, last ditch effort, tries to convince Sam to let him go. He's like, ethically, legally, I can't turn you in, or like I won't turn you in. As long as you like don't tell me that that you plan on committing another crime, I can still be your doctor, you can be my patient. And Sam's like, nah, bruh, I'm gonna commit another crime. It's just a matter of time. Like I'm going to. And so Alan's like, well, I'm fucked, obviously. This guy's just not gonna let me go. Which he does not. I'm going to pause here, read episode two's description, and then we're gonna keep going from my notes. So episode two was called Alan Learns to Meditate. Sam delves more deeply into the reason he entered therapy, but he encounters resistance from Dr. Strauss as he attempts to continue their sessions. A gathering sense of not being alone leads to a revelation about the house. Sam keeps bringing Alan food. Alan's been refusing to eat because he wants to be let go. He's upset. Personally, I would just eat the food. First of all, Sam always brings in some top-notch food. Like the last thing he brings in was like some pork buns, and I'm a sucker for a good pork bun, let me tell you. What? I'd be eating the food, even if it was poisoned. He's already got me chained up to a bed in the basement. I'm eating the food. Like, worst that can happen, I die. Better than some alternatives, I'll tell you what. And at least I go out eating what I like, pork buns. So finally, it's another morning. He brings Alan breakfast. He leaves for work, says he'll be home by 5. Alan finally eats something, which I was like, this was the lamest meal for him to decide to like start eating on. It was literally toast and scrambled eggs. Eat the pork buns. Eat the pork buns. So he eats breakfast. He's looking at his plastic fork, getting a terrible, terrible idea in his head. I cringed the whole time watching him trying to unlock his chain with a plastic fork, knowing dang well that prong was going to break off in the chain, which it did. And then he had to work real hard to try to get that little piece of fork out. And then he swallowed it, which I also thought was weird. Like, he did swallow it, right? Like, I didn't see that wrong. He swallowed it. Ow. Anyways, that just like really messed me up. That part really messed me up of everything else. Um, but then he hears some footsteps from up like from the floor above him, which he hears a few times throughout episode 1 and 2. As we continue, I feel like it's important to note that during their like back and forths, at one point Sam says that he looked at and or saw a bunch of different Jewish psychologists but felt that Dr. Strauss was the best equipped to help him for whatever reason. And I feel like that is going to be an important detail later in the show. So I really wanted to note that. I found it like kind of stuck out to me in an important way, whether that means like Sam's Jewish. I'm not Jewish or like religious in like any real way. So I didn't know if there was some part like of the religion that was gonna like play into this, or like the reason why um Sam is really fixated on having Dr. Alan Strauss help fix him. But since it was included, it feels important, and so I just wanted to include it here as well. So finally, Alan does agree to work with Sam because honestly, what else can he do? Sam's obviously not gonna let him go. Like, what else is he gonna do? So he finally agrees to work with Sam, but he has one condition, which is that Sam speaks to Alan before committing any acts of physical violence. Sam agrees that he will try to do that, and we move on. So again, like throughout the show, we get some clips of Alan's like life peppered into the show and into the episode. So we get like a clip of him trying to meditate with his late wife. We also get clips of him, like them at a family dinner, his wife throwing a cake against the wall. It seems like they're arguing about their son. Very hard to like tell exactly what's going on, if she was having some sort of issues. I assume some sort of like health issues, maybe mental health issues, whether it was dementia, Alzheimer's, or some like psychotic break. We're kind of like getting like hints of that. Like something obviously was off at some point. But like the very first clip that we have of them, of like him trying to meditate, very cute, just normal interaction between a wife and husband. Like it was just adorable. But I'm very curious like what happened there, and yeah, and what kind of feelings and emotions that Dr. Alan Strauss is holding on to. But so we also get a little bit more like about Sam. He is a health food inspector. He talks about some guy that he met like through work when he was inspecting their restaurant that just rubbed him the wrong way, basically, and he keeps thinking about killing him. And I made the very important note that obviously him being a health inspector is how he gets all that yummy stuff. Like them pork buns. I'm not gonna let those pork buns go. But he always like brings home like some really good looking food. And I'm like, okay, that's how he does it. That's where he finds all these awesome eateries. But he also lets it slip that he was married. He says it's one of those things he couldn't tell Alan before, which I find to be also very interesting. That stuck out to me in a big way. Like, why couldn't he tell Alan that he'd been married before? Or that he was married? Did he kill his wife? What's going on there? And then me and Steve had to wonder why we had to sit through that pee scene that lasted forever. And finally, we end episode 2. Alan is on the bed. He hears those footsteps again, and he calls out asking who's there, if they can hear him, if they're okay. We get some footsteps walking down the stairs to where Alan is holding a fire poker, and Alan just says hello, and he doesn't seem scared. So I'm not sure who he's saying hello to. I'm like, is it actually Sam? Does Sam have two personalities? Is it Sam's wife, his father, his mother, a brother, somebody that Alan knows? I don't know. Like, what are your best guesses if you've gotten this far? Leave them in the comments, but mark them. Mark them. Should we mark them spoiler just in case we want to keep this spoil free? Or if you just leave your guess no context, just like mom, and like that's your comment, or wife and that's your comment, I think we'll be fine, because that'll leave out like any not any content, any context. And also that way I get to know your guesses. Leave them in the comments. Let me know what you think so far of the show, if you've watched it. And let me know what you thought of this video. I definitely plan on doing more of these Mercedes reviews videos. I have more shows that I do want to review. Some of them I'm only doing at the end of the show slash season. I have one that I think I'm going to do, review the first 3 episodes and then like force myself to watch the rest of the show and then give an updated review, kind of like this. And if you like reviews broken up like this, let me know too, because I can definitely do more of these in the future. I will be watching Pretty Little Liars next, the new Pretty Little Liars, and thinking I might review that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe so you never miss a video. I appreciate y'all so much. And if you want to go that extra mile, go ahead and share my video, share my content. Really help me get out there. I'm working on it, but you know, sometimes creators need your help too. So I'd appreciate that as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!